Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So, in our high holiday season, a lot of people think that we end with Yom Kippur. We finish our fast and we're done. We know that's not true, though, because the high holiday season extends through Sukkot till Simchat Torah. And I don't know about you, but not having a weekend to build my sukkah this year was a little bit of a challenge, because usually whatever that Sunday afternoon is after Yom Kippur is when I end up building the sukkah. Not so this year. But we finally got it in right in the nick of time yesterday, and this morning my kids woke up and they had breakfast in the sukkah, and it was lovely. Now, so I want to ask you, my sukkah sits on my deck. We fit about a 6-foot table in it. We can fit our family, maybe a few more people in it. Raise your hand if you think you know how many. Well, first of all, who here has a sukkah at their house? Anybody? How many people fit in your sukkah, Nat? 10 people. Nate, how many people fit in your sukkah? Probably 8 or 9 people, okay. Who has a bigger sukkah than that? Okay, I think out there we have a bigger sukkah. Who here wants to take a gander as to how many people we think can fit in that sukkah? More than how many? More than 2. Excellent. Yes, more than 2. What do you think? What did you say? Jeff? 40? Maybe 40 people can fit in there. How many people are in this congregation? More than 40? Yes. Okay. So we have a sukkah that is quite large that could fit, let's say, 40 people. Maybe if you're really packing it in there, we could get 50. We probably could not fit the whole congregation in there. We probably couldn't fit more than the whole congregation in there. And yet, the Torah portion in Leviticus about Sukkot, there's lots of different sections in Torah that talk about Sukkot, but one of the sections says that we all have to dwell in the sukkah. And it says, every citizen of Israel shall sit in Sukkot, shall sit in a sukkah. And then our Talmud in Tractate Sukkot, which makes sense because it's talking about Sukkot, says that this means that all Israel are to sit in one sukkah. Now, we've just gone through the sizing options here, right? And my sukkah will not fit all of Israel. My sukkah won't fit more than 2, maybe 3 families if we're packing it in there. Our sukkah out there isn't going to fit more than 40 to 50. And yet, our Talmud is saying that all of Israel is supposed to sit and fit in one sukkah. So, of course, we have to try and understand, what does that mean? What does it mean that all Israel should sit in one sukkah? And there's lots of different stories and teachings and ways to try and understand this. But one of the pieces is really to speak about the community of Israel, Klal Yisrael, that Sukkot is supposed to be the festival that we are celebrating with such joy and such happiness and gladness, that we are supposed to really focus on what it means to bring all of the people, even when we disagree with lots of other things, because we all know that lots of Jewish people have lots of opinions, right? And we may not see eye to eye on a lot of things. But this one time of the year, we're supposed to have our hearts filled with such joy and such gladness that we should all find ways to come together and to sit under one sukkah. One of the midrashes teaches that we have these 4 species, as Rabbi Sharf was telling us about just a few moments ago, and they're supposed to represent all of the different kinds of Jews in our lives. And they all come together, and they form this way that we come together, disparate, and yet we all find unity together. And there are times in Judaism when we each have our different opinions, and one way of doing things goes with this direction and one goes with the other. And sometimes all of these different things are ways that we need to stand our ground, right? We each have a different way of interpreting things. But there are times when we want to come together as one community and sit under one sukkah. And it may not be possible physically, but I want to think about what would it mean if we looked at our community members and all tried to create this love of Israel, love of community, love of each other on Sukkot, because that is part of the joy of coming together on Chag, this festival of joy, this Zman Simchatenu, the season of our joy. So we are going to read a little bit from Torah on chapter 23 of Leviticus. We're going to begin on verse 39. I am not entirely sure what page it is on in the Plout, but it is chapter 23, verse 39, if you would like to follow along.
Leviticus 23, starting with 39.
So we are going to take a moment and we are going to bless our Torah together. So the blessings for the reading of Torah are found on page, hold on, 234. So we'll start together. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. וחמישה עשר יום לחודש השביעי, ואספכם את תבואת הארץ, תחוגו את חג אדוני 7 ימים, ביום הראשון שבתון, וביום השמיני שבתון. ולקחתם לכם ביום הראשון פרי עץ הדר, כפות תמרים, וענף עץ אבות, ועברי נחל, ושמחתם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם 7 ימים. תחוגו אותו חג לאדוני 7 ימים, 7 ימים בשנה, חוקת עולם לדורותיכם, בחודש השביעי תחוגו אותו, בסוכת תשבו 7 ימים, כל האזרח בישראל ישבו בסוכות, למען ידעו דורותיכם, כי בסוכות הושבתי את בני ישראל, והוציאי אותם מארץ מצרים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. וידבר משה את מועדי אדוני אל בני ישראל.